Yup, that's what I'm saying. Defense. Defense handing out 30-point games like it's free gift cards. Hold on, watch this. He said, you get a 30-point game, and you get a 30-point game, and you get 40, you get 35. Hello? Can you put Gostkowski on the phone? Listen, bro, you had one job. One job. We didn't ask nothing from you the whole game. All we ask is kick that shit down the middle and send it to overtime. And what happened? Boom! Wide left. Oh, we expect to lose games. We don't expect to lose games because of you. I don't hear those Cowboys fans say something. Man, I feel so sorry for y'all. That is so sad. That is so sad, man. Dak Prescott was the heart and soul of this team, and this team will never be the same until he gets back on the football field. NFL Week 7 review. Go nowhere else. We're treated to two very good games, or actually quite a few good games this past couple of weeks. This is going to be your NFL Week 7 review. We're going to go over every game like you normally do. We're going to talk about the stats that I printed out, which took approximately 40-some minutes because they always take a long-ass time to do. Your Thursday night game was the Eagles and the Giants. Now, one of the things I want to talk about here is that you have to understand it's an NFC East matchup. Okay, so what does an NFC East matchup mean? NFC East matchup means is that either team could literally win. Anytime the Giants play the Redskins, Eagles, Cowboys, I always give them a chance to win because they usually play them better. The NFC East has been terrible this year, and my prediction going into the year was the Cowboys were going to win the division. Clearly, that is probably not going to happen because since Dak Prescott has gone down with his injury, they have looked absolutely terrible. Andy Dalton's not an awful quarterback, but man, does he make the Cowboys look terrible. And that was very evident in the game against Washington. We talk about the game between the Eagles and the Giants. Daniel Jones had 187 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. He also rushed for 92 yards. There was a big play in this game that saw Mr. Jones run, I don't know, was it 70 or 80 yards before stumbling to make his way to the end zone. That's just New York Giants luck. That's what it is. Carson Wentz, 359 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Rodgers of the Eagles had 6 receptions for 85 yards. When it was all said and done, 22-21, the Eagles get the win over the Giants. The Giants will now play Tampa Bay, I believe, next Monday night. And if there's anything I know about that, it is not going to go well. The New York City, not Buffalo, New York City football teams, man, are they in for something this coming week? The Jets in Kansas City, I'm almost horrified to see what that final score will be in that game. And, of course, the Giants and Tampa Bay on Monday night. The Giants will play Tampa Bay better than the Jets play Kansas City, but they won't win. They won't win because if Tampa Bay starts to get on this roll, Eagles, I think they play. I have no idea who they play. Look at that. Just in the loop. Eagles were to win this game 22-21. Giants are terrible. The only thing they have going for them is that they have a win, and the Jets still don't. Pittsburgh and Titans. Titans and Steelers. Now, going into this game, obviously me being the Titans fan that I am, I had expectations for a good game. And what I saw through the first 3 quarters made me want to punch a wall. The Titans were dominated for most of this game. It was 24-7 at one point. The Titans' defense has been atrocious all year long. The pass defense, everything, the run defense, it has been absolutely terrible all year long. Terrible. We can't stop the pass. We can't stop the run. It looks ugly. And the reason why we are 5-1 is because our offense has been fantastic. Had our offense not been like that, we may actually not even have a win yet. You look at the games we've won where we put up 30-plus points, which has been a lot of games, but we've given up 30 points as well. As you saw in the intro, the Titans had no problem giving up 27 points to Pittsburgh. What the Titans had going for them, though, was A.J. Brown had a great game. Tannehill had a pretty good game. And one of the things I want to talk about also is the fact that the second half surge, which the Titans, that is their special. And they tend to do that better than a lot of other teams. If you watch this game, the longer it went on, as the fourth quarter came, you realize that if there was a fifth quarter, there was no doubt in my mind the Titans were winning this game. They were down 24-7. They scored 17 unanswered. They had a chance at the very end of the game to tie the game and send it to overtime. Gostkowski was not asked to do anything all day, and he misses the field goal. So I'm getting the vibe that Gostkowski will be a very inconsistent kicker. He will have a game where he misses 5 field goals. Then we will have a game where he hits a lot of field goals. Then he will miss the game winner. Gostkowski is probably going to give me many more heart attacks this year, if in close games, because I don't know what to expect from him. Ben Roethlisberger had a good game, sort of. 268 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he threw 3 interceptions. 3 interceptions from any quarterback is terrible. James Conner had no problem running the ball with 82 yards. Juju Smith-Schuster, 9 receptions, 85 yards. We go to the Titans side of things. Ryan Tannehill, 220 yards and 2 touchdowns. Henry could not get going early. He had some plays going as the game went on, 75 yards and a touchdown. A.J. Brown had a fantastic game. 6 receptions, 153 yards and a touchdown. The missed field goal at the end of the game. Had the Titans hit that, we were going to overtime. And I believe, in all honesty, the way that the teams were playing, whoever got the ball first in overtime was going to win the game. And knowing the way that things were going for the Titans late in the game, I think they would have got the ball, ran down, and never looked back. Steelers beat the Titans. They remain undefeated 27-24. The Titans will play Cincinnati next week. Hopefully that is a rebound game for the Titans, considering the fact that we played Pittsburgh last week. Cincinnati has no defense. They're able to score the ball, so I would not be shocked to see the Titans and Bengals be in somewhat of a close game. But the Titans should get the win over Cincinnati, and then I believe we play Chicago after that, which could be a tough one. Barring on how Chicago's defense has looked all year. We talk about Buffalo and the Jets. The Jets had no chance in this game, but if you actually look at how the game played out, the Jets were in control for, I believe, the first half. 10-6, Buffalo could not score. The Jets could not score. Well, the Jets scoring has been not something we've seen too much of this year, and it's not something that we probably will see too much of this year. The Jets were actually winning this game, but we know how New York sports goes. They won't hold the lead. They will not win the game. Josh Allen had 307 yards. That's literally it, but he rushed for 61 on the ground. Cole Beasley, 11 receptions, 112 yards. Darnold had a stat sheet that, again, was meaningless, 120 yards and 2 interceptions. Frank Gore had 60 yards. The Bills would get the win 18-10. One of the things we're going to talk about here is how terrible the Jets are. I do not believe the Jets will win more than a game this year at most. Buffalo, on the other hand, has cooled down a lot. We saw Buffalo dominate the first 3 weeks of the season, only for them to come back down to earth. They were dominated by the Titans. They had a close game with the Jets, which in all reality, this game should have been 42-17. But, you know, division games. Buffalo gets the win 18-10. However, well, there is no however. They get the win. The AFC East is starting to look a little bit weird. You know, I had Buffalo winning this division, which I still do. The tides in New England have turned drastically. They have drastically turned. You look at how New England looked in its first couple of games to how they've looked in their last 2. They looked miserable against Denver. Cam Newton looked terrible Monday against San Francisco. And Buffalo has calmed down a lot. Miami, I will never trust Miami with anything. And then there's the Jets, the worst team in the NFL. We go to the next game. It's gotten to a point where Atlanta should almost take their uniforms off and step off the field. Their defense should not have anything to do with anything because whatever type of conversation they have in the halftime locker room clearly does not work. I think at halftime the Falcons think the game is over. Detroit versus Atlanta. Detroit boasts a 500 record. Stafford, 340 yards and a touchdown. Ken Golladay, who's been great as always, 6 receptions, 114 yards. Matt Ryan, another good stat, 338 yards and a touchdown. Gurley, 63 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jones, 8 receptions, 97 yards. The Lions would score a touchdown as time expires to win this game 23-22. The Falcons are now 1-6. Their season is most likely over. Dan Quinn was fired. The Falcons got a win after he was fired, and now they are right back down to earth. The Lions are playing a lot better than we're used to seeing them. Are they a wild card team? Probably not. It's good to see that the Lions are somewhat relevant. They're 3-3, so there's not too much for Lions fans to complain about. But at the same time, we have to realize that the Lions aren't going anywhere, and the Falcons sure aren't either. I really do feel for their fan base. I have a close friend that is a Falcons fan. Falcons have never had a problem scoring the football. Problem is stopping the other team from doing so, and the defense not being there when it matters the most. That is the story of the Atlanta Falcons. Expect the Falcons to blow a lot more leads this year because they have mastered that craft. Battle of Ohio again. I believe the first time these two teams met, Cleveland got the win, and they got the win again. Cleveland playing much better football than we're used to seeing them. Are they a playoff team? Maybe they could get a wild card. But again, I don't trust Baker Mayfield. Cleveland versus Cincinnati. Cincinnati has a 1-5 record, which is booty. But despite a 1-5 record, Mr. Baker Mayfield had himself a game yesterday. 297 yards, 5 touchdowns. Yeah, that's right. Mr. Baker Mayfield threw for 5 touchdowns and an interception. Higgins Caldwell, 6 receptions, 110 yards. On the other hand, it was just the same. Joe Burrow went off for 406 yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception. And Tyler Boyd caught well with 11 receptions, 101 yards and a touchdown. Cleveland gets the win 37. It was 37-34. And you know what was funny? They were airing the Titans and Steelers. I stream it anyway. They were airing the Titans and Steelers on CBS as the game was coming to a conclusion. And we saw Ryan Tannehill fail the nice long touchdown pass, which would have probably won the game. And then we see Baker Mayfield do exactly that when they switch to Cleveland and Cincinnati. Late score gives Cleveland the win. Cleveland's record is 5-2, 4-3, I don't know. But they're playing a lot better than last year. They did lose Odell Beckham Jr. for the rest of the season, so you definitely hate to see something like that. New Orleans and Carolina, NFC South action. A lot of division games this week and a lot of division games that were close. New Orleans got the win. Teddy Bridgewater, 254 yards and 2 touchdowns. DJ Moore, 4 receptions, 93 yards and 2 touchdowns. Drew Brees, 287 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kamara rushes for 83 yards. Galloway catches well for New Orleans, 8 receptions, 75 yards. Drew Brees and the Saints would get the win, 27-24. Not too much to talk about this game. Teddy Bridgewater is on and off. I do not trust Carolina. They still have a lot of work to do around them. But the team definitely will probably stick with Teddy Bridgewater because I do think Teddy Bridgewater is a good quarterback, and he's one that they got to stick with. Washington versus Dallas. Dallas has been absolutely hopeless since they've lost Dak Prescott. I believe this was their second game. The first game, the Cowboys put up 3 points, and they let Arizona run all over them. Now, Arizona is coming off, and Arizona's a good team this year, but you got to think about it this way. Arizona gave up, dominated them. So you said, okay, it's Dalton's first game back, you figure. Or it's Dalton's first, Arizona's on fire, all right. Then they play Washington. Now, Washington has a okay defense. Dallas puts up 3 points again against Washington. Every team that Washington has played so far this year has put up more than 3 points against them, if I'm correct. Dalton looks miserable, 75 yards and an interception. Cooper had 7 receptions for 80 yards. Kyle Allen had 194 yards and 2 touchdowns. Gibson ran well for Washington, 128 yards and a touchdown. And McLaurin, of course, does what he does. 7 receptions, 90 yards, and a touchdown, 25-3. The Dallas Cowboys look absolutely lost without Dak Prescott, and it has gotten to a point where I may even say, no, I hate the Cowboys. I won't say that. I have sympathy. No, I can't have sympathy for Cowboys fans. I'm sorry that you had this happen. With or without Dak Prescott, they weren't winning anything this year. They might have won the NFC East probably, but they weren't winning anything in the playoffs. But man, you Cowboys can't catch a break. It's going to be a long rest of the season. Rest assured. Green Bay and Houston. I actually didn't realize that Houston actually had somewhat of a semi-decent stat line in this game because Green Bay was dominating them most of the way. Rodgers, 283 yards, 4 touchdowns. Williams runs for 77 yards and touchdown. Devontae Adams, man, somebody has to cool him down. 13 receptions, 196 yards and 2 touchdowns. Watson, 309 yards, 2 touchdowns. Cobb, 8 receptions, 95 yards. 35-20. Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, they had their off game. They got dominated by Tampa Bay last week. But despite the domination by Tampa Bay, Aaron Rodgers is a man on a mission this year. But if the indication of what Tampa Bay brought to the table is any indication of what we'll see, Tampa Bay looks like they're starting to get their mojo. Speaking of Tampa Bay, they played Las Vegas, who's coming off of a nice upset win against Kansas City. Tampa Bay's coming off a dominating win against Green Bay, and they dominated again. Brady, first fantastic game on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 369, 4 touchdowns. Miller, 6 receptions, 109, and a touchdown. Derek Carr, 284, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Aguilar, 5 receptions, 107, and a touchdown. Is there anybody else to talk about in this game? No, there is not. Blowing the brakes off. 45-20. Tampa Bay gets the win. If Tampa Bay's offense may be starting to slowly look like the offense that we need them to look like. Maybe Tom Brady just needed to get into rhythm. I won't jump to conclusions too quick, but I will tell you this. If Tampa Bay keeps this up, they will probably be your NFC team because Tom Brady has all the experience in the world, and the only team I saw stopping them was either Seattle or Green Bay. And right now, it doesn't look like we've already seen them play Green Bay, and we know Green Bay has trouble in the playoffs against really good teams. They actually, I don't know, man. I don't know. Kansas City and Denver. Denver's up and down. Regardless, they have nothing to look forward to this year. They can't score the football. Kansas City and Denver in a little bit of a snow game. Kansas City had no problem putting up points, though. Mahomes, 200 yards and a touchdown. Locke, 254 yards, 2 interceptions. Lindsey ran for 79 yards. No other crazy stats. However, 43-16, Kansas City gets the win against Denver. And I will say this. Kansas City will run the AFC West as long as Mahomes breathes. However, the Chargers may not have the record that they want, but there's a lot to look forward to because if it's not this year, I think the Chargers could be a team that you really need to watch out for next year. That's just my honest opinion. And it's because it's my opinion, it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right. San Francisco and New England. We have a problem, Mr. Belichick. It's your football team. We started off very good, New England. Great games with Seattle. Great win against Miami. What was the other one? There was another one. And all of a sudden, the last 2 weeks, we forgot how to football. New England looked awful against Denver. They looked miserable against San Francisco. Let's talk about it. Garoppolo, 277 yards, but of course he throws 700 picks, 2 interceptions. Wilson Jr., 112 yards and 3 touchdowns. Ayuk continues to impress as a rookie with 6 receptions, 115 yards. Cam Newton has a miserable day, 98 yards and 3 interceptions. The New England team could not do a damn thing Monday. 33-6, San Francisco defeats New England. If New England gets blown out next week like this, we have massive problems in New England. And I'm not saying they're Cam Newton, but, every team gets a couple of games where they have that. I don't know if we're going to pull the panic button on New England yet, but it's definitely a cause for concern because they've had the last 2 games, they've had really tough time scoring points, and they've had a tough time stopping other teams from doing so. So we're going to see what happens. I think this is one of the final 4 o'clock games, if I'm correct. If not, Chargers and Jacksonville. We talk about Jacksonville having playmakers. When they play teams that are better than them or slightly better than them, they have nothing to offer. Minshew had 173 yards and 2 touchdowns. Robinson ran well, 119 yards and a touchdown. Justin Herbert, man, he continues to do a little bit of beasting. Justin Herbert, man, he's beasting, man. And I don't think the Chargers will ever look back. I think that they found their guy. 347 yards and 3 touchdowns. Rushed for 66 yards and a touchdown. Keenan Allen, 10 receptions, 125 yards. 39-29. LA gets the win. They may be, 2-4? They may be 2-4. But I can tell you this right now. Watch out for the Chargers, man. Because Justin Herbert, man, he is beasting. And every game that he's played, he showed a lot of potential. We're not going to hit the Mahomes button. But if the Chargers continue to build their team, watch what they do the second half of the season. Will they make the playoffs? Probably not. But watch. Sunday Night Football. I didn't watch this game. I was watching WWE Hell in a Cell. This game, actually, I'm told, was the game of the year so far. So if I have a chance, maybe I'll try to go back and watch it. The stat lines in this game is ridiculous. Could take me 25 minutes to go through this one. Arizona and Seattle. The Cardinals. The Cardinals are looking really good, man. Their offense is looking good. Defense, they need to work on a little bit. But the Cardinals, man, Kyler Murray's coming along nicely. They are absolutely blessed and so thankful they got DeAndre Hopkins. And what are you going to say, man? Russell Wilson, 388 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. The 3 interceptions taints any stat line. Rushed for 84 yards as well. Tyler Lockett, 15 receptions, 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. Man, he's just a beast. We go to the Arizona stat sheet. Murray, 360 yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception. He rushed for 67 and a touchdown as well. DeAndre Hopkins, another one. 10 receptions, 103 yards, and a touchdown. Arizona gets the win in overtime, 37-34, and they snap Seattle's unbeaten streak. How you doing there? They snap Seattle's unbeaten streak. And maybe this was the statement game for Arizona and the Arizona Cardinals. Do the Arizona Cardinals make the playoffs? I do think that they find a way in. Is it the division? I don't think so. But again, there's so many teams this year. The end of this season is going to be ridiculous because there are so many teams that are probably going to be fighting for that wild card. And me personally, I find it very difficult to really make a prediction yet for the wild cards. The divisions, a lot of people have their division predictions, but the wild card predictions are going to be the really tough ones. But I think Arizona will find a spot. Monday Night Football, didn't watch this one either. Where the hell was I last night? Where was I last night? Anyways, Rams in Chicago. Chicago brought back down to earth by the Rams. The Rams, dude, what are you going to say? They're up one game. They're down another. As you hear the bike going outside, doesn't sound very nice. Foles, 261 yards, 2 interceptions. Robinson, 4 receptions for 70 yards. Jared Goff, 219 yards and 2 touchdowns. 24-10 Chicago. 24-10 the Rams defeat Chicago. Chicago will have to continue to build their offense. I think that they need to improve their run game. They haven't gotten much from David Montgomery. And they need to continue to build that offense. Their defense is what has them right now at 5-1 or 5-2. But offense is important, man. It is, because your defense can be great, but then you lose games 10-6. And that's what was happening to the Tennessee Titans last year in the first part of the year. They were losing these games to not being able to score until we made the switch from Mariota to Tannehill. Our defense was fantastic last year for most of the year. And then this year, it's the opposite problem. Our offense is firing on all cylinders, and our defense can't stop a lead to save their life. Football. Let's talk some wrestling. Maybe we'll run up some news tomorrow. I've been having a lot going on in my life, man. And I appreciate everybody that continues to support me and this. But stay safe.